Any further indication? Honorable Majority Leader, any indication as to our concluding the business for today?
Mr. Speaker, the half-hour motion is moved 30 minutes before the closure. And if it's moved and it's exhausted and there's no other business, the Speaker will adjourn. In the circumstance, the Speaker, I want to move and do so move that this House takes adjournment until 10 o'clock, until 12 o'clock. Tomorrow, 12 noon, until 12 noon tomorrow. The Speaker so move.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to second the motion for adjournment till tomorrow 12 noon. Thank you.
Honorable members, the motion for adjournment has been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. This honorable House will stand adjourned tomorrow 12 noon. Thank you very much.
Right, so that half-hour motion by the minority has been moved, and essentially the moving of half-hour motion by the minority is to try and get the finance minister into the chamber to provide evidence and essentially make himself available to answer all questions relating to the transaction. It has to do with the $2.25 billion bond sale that it turns out that Franklin Templeton took quite a majority of. The minority has always indicated that it has a problem with it, with the transparency with which that was done, and it believes that there was some conflict of interest situation. We have Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, who is in Parliament, and he's going to bring us some understanding of what has just transpired in the House. Hello, Joseph. So what we know is that the finance minister, this half-hour motion has been moved. First of all, when are we expecting the finance minister in the House?
Well, the directive that the Speaker of Parliament just gave, is expected to appear before the House a week to see. That's next week, Wednesday. Initially, the majority leader, the majority leader of HMS indicated that the finance minister was traveling out of the country later tonight, and that he wasn't very clear in his mind on what exactly he would be back, and that he would be likely he would be back sometime very early in the week. And then the Speaker put a very direct question to him that would a week from now be enough time for the finance minister to prepare to come respond to the question? And he again indicated that he can't be too sure. But eventually, the Speaker, Professor Michael Hoy, gave that directive that they will write the finance minister and indicate to him that he should appear before the House a week today to provide all the necessary details that the minority are asking in connection with this 2.25 euro bond that was issued recently.
Right. Essentially, what is the minority seeking to with this half-hour motion? And
so the idea is that they would want details of it that have been brought directly to the House. The minority leader indicated that as far as this particular issue is concerned, they've only seen press statements that have been issued in the media in connection with it, and they've heard of conversations on various media platforms. But when it comes to official information to Parliament in connection with this, that hasn't actually got into them. And so that's exactly what they are seeking to do, that the finance minister would appear before the House and provide those necessary details officially to Parliament, so that then if they want to take any action when it comes to this particular Eurobond issue, then based on that, they would be able to go ahead with that.
All right, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, do stay on the line, and for the benefit of our viewers, we're going to be bringing you a playback of what actually transpired. But in the meantime, we're going to be engaging Joseph. Now, we're told that this is the first time this half-hour motion is being moved. Joseph, why is it so special?
Well, it's a very special process that's specifically outlined in the other papers of, the various documents of Parliament, speaking of the standing orders. Usually, motions are supposed to come through a very normal procedure that's not exactly supposed to be as complicated as this. With this particular issue of the half-hour motion, it comes with some level of restriction. And so when the issue is put on the table, there is not supposed to be any kind of changes to it. The specific issue that has been tabled is what will be dealt with, so that then as and when it's actually, put out there, then the expectation is that there will be the specific responses that will be coming from the person that is being directed at. I would want to take a few reactions from some members of Parliament. The House just adjourned the sitting, and a number of them are moving out. We would have a conversation with them and get specific clarity on this particular issue. Let's speak to some of them. We'll get some members on the minority side to actually provide us some specific clarity and some additional details on what exactly they seek to do with this. The chairman of Parliament's Subsidiary Legislation Committee, the Honorable Muhammad Ayariga, is joining us briefly. Honorable Ayariga, so what exactly are you the minority seeking to achieve with this half-hour motion that your leader has put and just gotten approval for?
The issue of the bond has been discussed publicly, and looks like there are issues about accountability, transparency, and openness. And the half-hour motion provides us an opportunity to move a motion requesting the minister to come here and give us full details of how the bonds were procured and how the disbursements of the bonds was done and the currency in which the bonds were settled. So basically, it is to request the finance minister come and provide information.
Don't we have these details out there already? We saw the statement that was issued by the finance ministry before this was done. We've heard of interviews that the finance minister and officials of the ministry have granted, and given all those details, why is this still necessary?
Information provided to Parliament usually more authentic, and if you listen to the speaker, he said it should be detailed information supported by documentation. So statements issued, I'm not sure, also were supported by detailed documentation, evidence, and everything. But for us in this house, just don't come and make a statement. We will provide documentation. All that is captured in the motion. So what will come to us definitely will provide some greater, and then also that we become seized with the documents, and that becomes the basis for a debate. So that what is happening in the media is all right. In a free democratic society, people can express themselves freely as and when they like. But in this house, the debate will be more structured, and I'm sure that it will provide an opportunity for us to get to the truth of every matter. And based on that, the public will then have some, I believe, resolution of the matter.
My final clarification will be, is this a stepping stone to want to, seek a full parliamentary probe into this particular issue? Your side of the House had indicated that detail.
I think that it will depend on what information he brings to the House.
But that's a possibility, that beyond this, then your demand for a full-scale parliamentary probe would be furthered based on what you bring.
I haven't been around. I was in ECOWAS Parliament. I don't recall us as a minority asking for a full-scale probe. But then if he brings the information here, it is part of the proven exercise to bring the full detailed information here, and we study. If there's no issue, I'm sure that at the end of it. If there are further issues, because when we get the information, remember that we also have constituents. We also make the information available to them. We may not be financial experts. If they review the information and also think that there are issues, if other experts get the information from us and review it and think there are further issues, then of course we'll follow those issues to their logical conclusion. But I don't think that the intention or the assumption is that somebody to be maligned. It is first one, our commitment to running an open, transparent governance system based on our constitution that we are doing this.
Many thanks for speaking to us. That's the Member of Parliament for Boku Central and also Chairman of Parliament Subsidiary Legislation Committee, Mahama Yariga there.
Now, Joseph, if it's not gone too far away from you, I want to find out, is this all supposed to happen in 30 minutes because it's called the half-hour motion?
Well, so let me seek that specific clarification from him. I'll do that in a jiffy. But then before we do that, let's take just a few more reactions. In fact, the indication is that the minority side of the House is about addressing a press conference, easy as I speak to you. They're setting up the minority leader himself, flanked by some other members of the Finance Committee of Parliament, are currently, preparing the ground to hold this particular press conference to give some additional details and further clarity on this particular issue.
All right.
We will be taking that in a while as well, Israel.
All right, thank you very much, Joseph. Okay, so what we're going to be doing, we're going to be taking a break at this point. We will be coming to you right back immediately. The minority has put itself together and it's ready to go with the news conference. Unless you have other members of Parliament you'd want to take some reactions from before we get to take that break. All right, so that was Joseph Opoku Gakpo, and what we're told is that the Finance Minister can't see this half-hour motion moved by the minority. The Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, is supposed to appear in the House a week from today to provide answers to the minority and anybody who wants that information on the $2.25 billion transaction, bond sale, which happened earlier this year, which the minority is not too enthused about. They believe that there's been some underhand dealings, it's not been transparent, and they're raising conflict of interest situations. And so they would want the information minister to provide all the answers to their questions so that they can be convinced that there's indeed, this whole thing was done above board. Already we're aware that the minority has written to the Securities and Exchange Commission of the United States to try and get them to also investigate this transaction. So we will, as you heard Joseph Opoku Gakpo put out, the minority is putting together or getting ready to address a news conference, and we will be bringing you that news conference in a bit. But we're taking a break on JoyNews right now, but do stay tuned because we have that news conference and a whole lot more coming up on this particular issue coming up in a bit. Stay tuned. All right, so this is still JoyNews, and as I indicated earlier, the minority is holding a news conference on the $2.25 billion bond sale that government sold sometime earlier this year. Let's just go straight in. It comes on the back of this motion, half-hour motion moved by the minority a few minutes ago. Let's listen in.
GMT. So clearly you can see the chronology that something fishy is in there. So we wait to see. We've been told the finance minister is not in the country. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. All what we are asking for is for us to have the full complement of information. So that our promise to the people of this country that we'll call for a probe. We members, Ghanaians will know that indeed what we said that we're going to do, we've done it. So it's not something very different. We are asking for additional information. The additional information is that the use of proceeds is going to cause this country a loss of almost $5 billion over the 15 years. I was surprised to hear from the finance minister at the policy briefing. I listened to myself. I listened myself. The minister for finance was saying that he's making a savings of 612 million Ghana cedis as a result of this bond. I don't see where the savings is coming from. In fact, he's not making savings. He's rather causing this country a financial loss. Indeed, the amount is 330 million US dollars from his Ghana cedis, from his own words, that he's using the proceeds to take off short-term maturing debt. But the argument they will put across is that they are trying to avoid rollover risk. But I want to challenge the Ministry of Finance once again, that rollover risk can never be compared to concentration risk. Concentration risk, in the case of the Franklin Templeton case, where you have one single investor taking approximately 96% of the bond, is more severe and more serious than to wait and allow the Treasury bond to be rolled over at that rate. In fact, you agree with me that the Treasury bond at 91 days and 182 days, there are diverse investors, hundreds, thousands. You and I, anytime you have your money and you want to invest it somewhere, you decide to use it to buy Treasury bonds. So the chances that you will roll over is higher than one single investor at any point in time deciding not to roll over or deciding to get out of your market. So that is why I'm saying that concentration risk, in my opinion, is more severe and more serious than the rollover risk. So that argument, I will not buy it. They should come and come again. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's do the tree.
Add something. You want to add something? Yeah. Kweku want to add something. So the English version, Kweku add something.
All right, so we just said the former Deputy Finance Minister took us for saying, and he's made his points about why they think that this deal with the bond sale is it's not in the best interest of the country. We have yet another member of the minority about to speak. Let's just listen.
How do they describe it? Which means that they have paid a premium to be able to buy the right to buy the bond in the future. Yes. We need to know how much they paid, how much premium they paid. So the true cost of the bond is not the 19.75 that they are telling us, which is the coupon, but it is that plus the premium that they have paid is actually the true cost of the bond. And that information should also be made available to us. Thank you very much.
Okay, and probably it's also important for us to understand. The government of Ghana is paying double interest. We are paying interest on the existing 91 days or the short end of the market. They are paying interest. At the same time, interest is accruing for the recent 2.25 billion, of which is still a liability to the state, and the state will have to pay. So no matter how you see it, the amount that I've just quoted, I'm just being very generous because I'm a Ghanaian. I just want to be generous. But let me tell you, if you quantify it, that amount will be 2 times, 3 times what I've just mentioned. So it is a tip of an iceberg. Questions? Yes.
For the past 1 week, a rumor, speculation about interventions coming from a number of quarters. Council of State mentioned your name has come up, including the Honorable.
Yes.
Yes. Has the Council of State met you or any member of the minority regarding this particular bond we're talking about?
Let me say something. The Council of State is an august constitutional body. Relationship with the Council of State within us and minority is important. We in the minority will always attend to the call of the Council of State anytime they call us. So let's leave it there. Let us respect them as an august body, that they are performing their constitutional function. So we'll leave that for now.
The minority has petitioned the Securities and Exchange Commission of the United States of America. How different is that from what you want from the finance minister?
The difference is that the Securities and Exchange Commission of the United States of America regulate the activities of Franklin Templeton. For that matter, if we feel that Franklin Templeton has conducted a business in a non-transparent manner in our jurisdiction, we have the right to petition the United States regulator to regulate their client and to make sure that indeed they follow the rules governing conflict of interest, insider trading, and how businesses must be done as long as securities are concerned. So that is different from what we are doing here today. This documentation we are requesting for relates to Article 1815 of the Constitution as to whether this bond constitute international business economic transaction. And for that matter, we think that going for a loan of 2.25 billion and not allowing the Parliament of this Republic to have a view of it, we take strong exception to that. We think that Parliament of this country should have the right to review the agreement, to give them the blessing, and to indeed make sure that the outcome of the bond is going to benefit the people of this country, and that is why we are asking for this information.
In the event that you are not convinced with the information that you provided, what will be the next line of action?
That is in my slip. We'll do that the next time.
My question is that what will be the termination point for the minority on this? Because first was the press conference, you petitioned SEC, others who have also gone to charge and all of that. Now there is this half-hour motion.
Okay.
What is the point of termination? Is it the resignation of the finance?
The point of termination is for us to be satisfied with the responses. As we speak, you know that the issue relating to conflict of interest and insider trading, nobody has mentioned anything about it. You are in the media, you know about that. Why are they quiet about it? As we speak, we are hearing that they are making a savings of 612 million. My mathematics doesn't add up. 1 + 1 is 2, can never be 3. We are asking them to give full particulars and how the savings is going to come about. From our calculation, they are rather causing financial loss to the state. There are so many unanswered questions, so we are asking them to give us answers. And if we get satisfactory answers, job done. Job done. Nina, okay, last one.
Find out from you. You made mention that you'll be calling for a probe. You preempted, you know the answers that will be coming from the Ministry of Finance because you've been there. The probe you're calling for, is it a probe considered by both the majority and then the minority?
You see, at this point, we are not asking for a probe. At this point, what we are asking for is for the minister responsible for finance in the Ministry of Finance to provide the Parliament of Ghana with the full complement of documentation related to the issuance of the $2.25 billion bond. That is what we are asking for. It is after that time that we will decide whether probe is necessary or not necessary. So let's tackle it one by one, and we will be able to advise. So I would tend.
All right, so we appear to have lost the signal there to Parliament, but the issues that have happened in the last half hour or so is that the minority has gone to Parliament with a half-hour motion. They have succeeded with that half-hour motion. The Finance Minister is supposed to appear in Parliament a week from today to provide all the details that the minority is seeking regarding the $2.25 billion bond sale that happened sometime earlier in the year. And the issues that the minority have raised really has to do with conflict of interest situation and insider trading, which you heard the former Deputy Finance Minister took as a forcing rehash. Essentially, they're saying that they believe that there was some conflict of interest situation in insider trading because there's one gentleman, Trevgan, who is with Franklin Templeton, which bought a majority of the bonds that government sold, about 96% thereabout, and they're saying that that gentleman is known to the finance minister. The majority has, or government has always countered this and indicated that indeed the Franklin Templeton has been buying government of Ghana bonds for several years, and that well before the finance minister was named, Kenneth Ofori-Atta was named the finance minister. And so if government didn't have a problem with dealings with Franklin Templeton back then when it had the Trevgan, they don't see why government should continue, or the minority should be raising this issue. Now, the former Deputy Finance Minister is also indicating that government is claiming to have made a saving of $600 million by deciding that it was going for this $2.25 billion bond sale. But they are saying that that's not accurate. The Atu Katioforson says he's unconvinced, and that as far as he's concerned, we're actually looking at a loss of about $300 million. This is going to play out for a while, and I'm sure the majority is going to be reacting, and we're going to be staying with this story. We'll bring you all the sides to this particular story. So do stay tuned to JoyNews. We will be updating you as and when we have information on this. So that's where we're bringing to a close this break-in having to do with the minority pushing that half-hour motion. My name is Israel. Stay tuned to JoyNews Prime.